Call Lamar City Council regular meeting to order, Tuesday, March 17th, 12 p.m. Could you please stand with me and pledge allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have roll call, Bev?
Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yes.
Rexbro?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made to approve the agenda. Motion been made and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to welcome everyone in the chamber this afternoon for our council meeting, and particularly Austin from the Lamar's Daily Sentinel. We are going to continue to move on. The first thing on the agenda, and particularly you people that are watching, by the way, over television, we always want your inputs and thoughts also. General discussion, the way we handle our general discussion is that we ask you to step up to the podium, state your name and address, and if you have concerns or comments or good things to say about the city, why, we're certainly willing to listen. However, the council cannot make a decision on anything at that time, but they're always very willing to listen to what you have to say. So is there anybody, Mrs. Jenry, did you? Yeah. If you'd like.
Good morning.
Good
My name
morning.
is Pam Chenery. My address is 1501 Schaefer Avenue, Southeast. I've lived in Lamar's for 26 years, I think now. And
Good.
I'm here on behalf of the Iowa State SIDS Foundation. I'm a state board member at this time. And every year for the last 16 years, the Iowa SIDS Foundation, which stands for Sudden Infant Death Syndrome, has their annual fundraiser, which is a walk to remember. The past years, it's been, for Northwest Iowa, it's been held in Sioux City at Bacon Creek Park. But since I've been on the board for the last 3 years, my co-chair, Marcia Pitts, who is also from Lamar's, we kind of decided, hey, I think let's have it in Lamar's. So I'm here today just to inform you that it's going to be held in Lamar's on August 22nd in the morning at Willow Creek at the Mazer Trail, the 3.1 loop. We'll be using the enclosed shelter house at that time. We usually have a silent auction and different other things for fundraisers. And the basic reason that we have this fundraiser is to give support to families that have gone through the emotional loss of a child. And it's also for information, educational information to give to families, to give to caregivers, to the public to help reduce the risk of SIDS. There's no known cause at this time why we have this in our country. And 1 out of every 1,000 live births in the state of Iowa, one of those children ends up dying from SIDS, and unfortunately, one of my children did too. And so, so I'm very involved in this, and I hope that we have the support of the council, and we're really anxious and happy to have it moved to Lamar's, because I'm sure the Lamar's community will support us. So, do you have any questions?
I'm sure your council members are all behind you on it, Pam. I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have a goal in mind?
A
How much-
fundraising goal?
Yeah.
Well, last year we made about, just in the Sioux City Walk, we made about not quite $4,000.
Good.
So we're going to try to inch up to $5,000. Statewide, we made about $75,000. So, and about a third of that is also always given to medical research.
Good enough.
So,
Wish you the best.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks.
for having me.
Thanks, Pam. Is there any other ones, Dave?
This morning, just so the council's aware, we requested that Plymouth County be put in a burn ban. So at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, all of Plymouth County will be placed in a burning ban. The proclamation is being done up by the State Fire Marshal's office right now as we speak, and will be given to the local media and things like that. We've had some fires yesterday. You know, you'd think when you have red flag warnings and all that people would kind of heed not burning, but that didn't happen yesterday. And we had 5 or 6 fire departments on one specific fire for 5 hours yesterday, and stuck equipment in the mud and everything else, so it was a total mess yesterday. So with that said, Plymouth County tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. will be in a burn ban. Now, as far as the city of Lamar's goes, that does not affect your backyard fire pits or barbecue grills or anything of that nature. So if the council would get any calls from citizens about the burn ban, you can still have your residential fire pit by code, and you can still barbecue or grill your burgers or brats or whatever you're doing. This is more for the fact of burning ditches, burning tree piles, and that sort of thing. So just to make everybody aware of that, okay? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dave, for the information on that. And by the way, the email did come out. I just seen it before I walked in.
Good.
So it is in fact. Anything else? Anybody else? If not, we'll move on to citizens. John?
Congratulations to the Lamar's Bulldogs for taking runner-up in the 3A basketball tournament in Des Moines. Congratulations to the fans of Lamar's for winning the Sportsmanship Award, and congratulations to some individual athletes for academic and athletic awards.
I certainly endorse that 100%, John. That's a pretty nice program they brought back to Lamar's Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely.
Clark?
Yep, can't double that. Absolutely.
Amanda?
Just that, and also wanted to pull out one thing that's in our consent items, just so everybody has the date. The community Easter egg hunt has been taken over by the education station, is now hosting that. And the date on that is Saturday, April 4th at 11 a.m. at Cleveland Park. So
Okay.
just make sure everybody knows about that, since it's kind of hidden in our consent items.
Very good idea. Very good. Rex?
I'm just starting to recover my voice, so I did all I could down in Des Moines.
I know you did.
I was pretty prominent.
I know you've done a lot of clapping Sunday afternoon,
I
too.
did a lot of clapping Sunday afternoon because I couldn't talk Sunday afternoon. But no, it was a magical week, and
was. Great.
what I told Dave and the boys is just thanks. I mean, you remember what seat you were in and where you were in and what place you were in. That doesn't happen too many times, so it was a good deal.
I'll echo his comments. It's just, as I've lived here 45 years in Lamar's, it just seems like there's something every year or every other year that the community school and the Galen excel in.
Yep.
And it's a great community to live in, and just continue what we're doing. We must be doing something right.
Yeah, we sure do, and we can't emphasize enough, we really appreciate what they did for us and how they did it, and man, some close games to get where they got. That was interesting. Okay, moving on to consent items. All items listed under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today, we have 7 of them. The first one is approval of the March 3rd, 2015 regular minutes. The second one is a list of bills for the period ending 3/13/15. The third one is a monthly financial statement for February 2015. Number 4 is a new liquor license for Green Tea Azen Bristol. Number 5 is a request to close streets through the Chamber of Commerce request. Number 6 is a community Easter egg hunt, April 4th, that Delana was talking about. And number 7 is a water system improvement, 2012 booster station. Does any of the council members have any questions on anything, or they want to visit about any of these?
Motion to approve consent items 1 through 7.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second to approve the consent items, number 1 through 7. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to our action items, which is next on the list, and the first one is the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. The council has received a copy of the fiscal year ending 2014 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. the representative of Williams and Company, which I've noticed Graham Forbes is here, will be at the meeting to discuss this report. So at this time, Graham, let us know if we've made any money or if we're solid or how we're doing.
I think, again, my name's Graham Forbes with Williams Company. I'll just quick point out a few items here and try and keep things fairly brief, but if you have some questions, stop me or hit me at the end or either way, and I'd be happy to answer those as well. I guess just quickly, I'll direct your attention to page 4. It's the second page of our opinion, independent auditor's opinion letter. And the first full paragraph there, top of page 4 is our opinion paragraph as it's conveniently labeled there. But that's the kind of most important part of all this. It's where we state that we feel in the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects for all the opinion units of the government. So that's a good, clean, unmodified opinion, which is exactly what you're after. So no other issues, findings, or adverse or other disclaimers of opinion on the financials, just an unmodified opinion. So that's definitely what we're after there. From there, starting on page 6 is the management's discussion and analysis. And that's some information put together by Bill and other staff at the city. And that's some good information if you don't want to flip through all 80 some odd pages of the report and just want to get some good kind of brief comparative information. That's a good place to start. You'll find some comparative information to the prior year and then some commentary and narrative put together by Bill and the rest of the staff on why some of those changes occurred, as well as some other events during the year, as well as upcoming items to consider that will affect the city financially to kind of consider as well. So if you're looking for kind of a high level or the cliff notes, if you will, the report, that's a great piece of information there to take a look at. From there, I think I'll flip back to page 19, I guess it is, which is the balance sheet of the governmental funds, which are kind of the governmental funds encompass all activities of the city other than the basically utility funds or the enterprise funds, which is where all the day-to-day operational kind of items go on for public works, public safety, general government, parks, rec, all the other non-utility type functions. And you'll see there for the general fund, they ended the year with a unassigned fund balance of just under $1.7 million, which translates into about 86 days of unassigned fund balance or expenditures in that unassigned fund balance number, which is a decrease from the prior year. At FY13, we ended the year with 113 days of expenditures in that unassigned fund balance. A few different reasons for that. One is just the overall fund balance was down slightly. And then as expenditures go up, the average daily amount also thus increases, causing that number of days to go down a little bit as well. 86 days still, is down, but not an alarming amount. We usually suggest between 75 to 150 days in that unassigned fund balance amount, which gives you a little cushion that way to get through between the March and September property tax payments, which are the most significant, and in case one of those would be late, or in case a state aid payment of some nature is late, things like that, that there's a little cash flow room there to make payroll and have no cash flow crunch if you've got a little bit of a cushion there. So although it's down a little bit, again, nothing that I would be alarmed about. I mean, just I'm sure the staff is, well on top of that. I know that's something that Bill tracks pretty closely, and so something that we'll be working towards maintaining, if not increasing that, I'm sure. So from there, pages 21 and 22 show the statement of revenues and expenditures for those governmental funds. And as you see, 2/3 of the way down the page, the net change in fund balance shows, like it says, the basically increase or decrease in those funds for the year. And you'll see the general fund saw a slight decrease, like we already talked about. And for the TIF and other governmental funds, some large increases. Looking back on those, pretty much the entirety of both those large increases are just some timing issues where we received TIF funds but haven't had a debt payment or other project expense come due, and some other kind of project timing items on those as well. So we'll probably see the opposite of those a year from now as it swings back the other direction when the payments are made or the transfer made or so forth. That'll balance those out. So, but I think overall, everything is stable to increase, and no issues of concern or noteworthy items there. And then just quickly, on pages 26 and 27 are the statement of revenues and expenses for the city utility funds or proprietary funds. And you'll see there again, most of the way down the page, the change in net position line there. You'll see that each of the utilities and then the non-major combination of funds all showed small but increases in each case. So they're all stable and showing small increases in the overall net position. So there again, I think obviously moving in the right direction there. Other items starting on page 33 is the notes to the financials. Won't spend a lot of time there, but if you're looking for some in-depth detail on any items, such as the makeup of the capital assets, further detail in the city's outstanding debt, all the way down to amortization of those payments, interest rates, so forth, that's a great place to start looking for all of those items. The only item specifically I'll discuss here in the notes is on page 58. There's a quick blurb on a new Government Accounting Standards Board statement that's going to come into effect for FY15. And that is one that is going to require the city and all municipalities across the country to start to recognize a liability for the unfunded balance of their employee retirement plans. So what's going to happen, and I don't know, I haven't seen any numbers yet, I'm assuming we're going to start to see some of those soon, is it's going to be the responsibility of IPERS in the city's case to basically develop the entirety of these amounts, but to show the city and report to the city what, for their portion of the overall IPERS unfunded liability, what portion is due to city employees and retirees of the unfunded actuarial liability for that retirement plan, and then that's going to have to flow through and get recorded on the city's books for the first time in FY15. Don't really have a good feel yet for what the magnitude of that liability is going to look like. And I think really, other than the fact it's going to get recorded, it'll change nothing from a cash flow or everyday operating standpoint of the city. Really, in my mind, the only outcome, good or bad, that'll come out of that is potentially, when it comes to bond rating time, bond issuing time, we're just adding another liability to the financial statements, unfortunately. But I, again, presume, especially in Iowa, where the pension fund is fairly well-funded, well-operated, that these bonding companies are going to be pretty well-versed on what they're going to see there, and I'm don't know, but anticipating not too large of effect on that bonding capacity or rating as it moves forward. But that's going to be a little bit of a change and something we'll have to look to here for FY15 to see what the final liability looks like and what, if any, outcome or effect that'll have on future operations, especially when it comes to bonding. So otherwise, on page 59 and 60 is the budget comparison schedule. There we basically take the total actual results for the year and compare those to the final budgeted amounts. And you'll see kind of towards the middle of the page, we compare those based on the functional area level. And you'll see in those levels, one item, the community and economic development, was slightly over budget. But I think overall on a $81.9 million budget to be off $34,000 in one functional area, and all the other items, excuse me, fairly close to the budgeted amounts, I think shows that, the city using it as a tool for fiscal responsibility and trying to budget accurately. So I think that's a big plus. From there, following that is a lot of combining schedules of the smaller funds of the city, just giving you greater detail by specific special revenue fund and capital project fund. So if you want to drill down to any of those areas, there's some of that individualized information there. And following that is a little bit more required reporting based on government auditing standards and some of the items the state of Iowa requires us to look at for compliance purposes during the audit as well, and the results of those tests. But from there, I think that's, I'll quit rambling on here, but if you have any questions, comments, feel free to bounce those off me now, or if something comes to you later as you have a chance to review things, feel free to funnel any of those through Bill, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. So,
Any questions for Graham on our audit? Looks like it's been very thorough, again, Graham, so we appreciate your help on it.
yeah, we appreciate Bill and Bev and the rest of staff. They spend a lot of time helping us and getting us information we need and putting together information, and I'm sure there's a lot of days I'd rather do their everyday job than dig up all the stuff we ask them to, but we appreciate the help they give us, as well as Ann and Angela and everybody else that helps out during that process. They do a great job, so we appreciate it.
I like to stay close to Bill, he runs the checkbook, so,
You got to know.
thanks a lot.
Yep, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Motion accepting the City of Lamar's comprehensive annual financial report for the year ending June 30th,
Is there a second?
2014.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second, accepting the City of Lamar's comprehensive annual financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2014. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next thing on our action item is the energy audit recommendations. A few weeks ago, an energy audit was conducted by Mid-American Energy at the City Library. Their assessment report is now complete and has been forwarded to each council member. Listed below are the 6 recommendations that were included in their assessment report. Shown with each is the cost to implement, rebate available, estimated payback, and the expected renew life of each product. The first one is the interior LED lamps. Quantity is 11 of them. There are currently 5 65-watt incandescents and 6 100-watt incandescents. The second one is the LED fixture replacing at 100 to 249-watt HID, quantity 4 of them. There are currently 4 150-watt fixtures on the exterior of the building. The third one is the LED fixture replacing 250-watt HID. Quantity, there's 10 of them. There are currently 10 250-watt fixtures that light the parking lot. The fourth one is 2x4 LED troffers. The quantity of them is 56 of them. There are currently 56 4-foot fluorescent fixtures inside the library. Annual servicing of 4 rooftop air conditioning units. Convert to 63 8-foot fixtures into new 4-foot LED fixtures. And I think you can go through the costs here. I haven't taken the time to go through each one of them. But I guess we're bringing this out to get your opinions as a council and see what we do. The staff did recommend that all of the above recommendations have less than a 5-year payback be approved and implemented. The large dollar items should be considered depending on dollars available and expected lifespan of the building. These recommendations have been reviewed by the City Energy Advisory Team and that group supports the implementing said recommendations. The financial impact of all this is if all 6 items are adopted, the financial impact would be an upfront cost, net of rebates, of about $14,544, resulting in an annual savings of about $2,728. If only the 5-year payback items are approved, the cost net of the rebates would be about $4,390 and result in the annual savings of about $1,630. Being as it said and shared comments.
Well, based on expected life, they all look like good projects, but the issue, of course, is how we deal with them from a budget standpoint. It'd be nice to take the savings each year, but it's tough to handle the costs in 1 year.
And I'm assuming that these costs don't reflect any labor whatsoever, right?
As far as making the installation, I
I think they've got some
think he
labor.
factored that in there. I think Mid-American factored that in there as total cost.
Okay, if they did, that's wonderful, but if you look at installing or converting 63 8-foot light fixtures, and the cost is only $1,320,
13,000.
$13,200, I can't hardly believe labor's in that. But maybe the conversion doesn't take much, I don't know.
I don't think there's much involved in converting them. I think you take out the old fixture and put the new one
If that's
back
the
in the
case,
same
then I'm,
location.
yeah.
Yeah, it's my understanding that is an installed price.
Okay. That was my only question.
Yeah,
And
I'm
as far
sure.
as funding, the council hasn't set aside any funds to do any of these projects at this point. Again, we were kind of looking at each building individually. They have done an energy audit on the Community Wellness Center. We don't have that report back yet, but it should be back within the next couple of weeks probably. And, if we want to do the immediate items and then maybe collect these longer-term items and decide once we have the other building reports back, that's an option too.
So by immediate, you're talking 1, 2, 3, and 5.
1 through 3 and 5, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, really, if you net it out, you're talking about a $2,700 or $2,800 impact to the budget that we did not have budgeted for those four.
Yeah, the
projects.
initial cost would be, almost 4,400, and then the savings each year should be about 1,600.
Right.
So, the first year.
About $2,800
Right.
impact the first year, and after
Correct.
that, we'd be seeing savings of
Correct.
$1,630 a year.
That's correct.
And I don't know how it affects, maybe John does, rebates on the others on 4 and 6. If we address those, say as lights went out or something, and can you piecemeal or not? Or is it all or none, do you know?
I think you could address that with Mid-American, but I would assume you
Yours
could
was all or
handle-
none? Okay.
Is it all or none?
When we did the lights at the fire station, and the labor's probably next, it's just changing the ballast and the bulb.
Right,
Right.
right.
It was, do them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our rebate with Mid-American.
But by the same token, if, as, say on number 4, as some of those existing 4-foots, because it is a simple switch out, if we just replace them with LEDs as the fluorescents went, it's going to.
You would still see the
alleviate-
savings, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you aren't going to have that huge upfront cost. I don't
Right.
see the point at this stage of purchasing new fluorescents. So I would say maybe they could notify us if something goes out. I mean, fluorescents last a long time
Yeah.
anyhow, so.
And usually Mid-American reviews their rebate programs every year or 2 years, and so sometimes there is a change in January as far as what the rebate programs are
Right.
or the amounts.
And maybe it's something to run by them again, too, but I don't, and then I question aesthetically, if you want to just piecemeal it, what's it going to look like with some LEDs blended in with fluorescents? It might not be the most
Yeah, but
pleasant
it's,
appearing.
yeah, but by the same token, neither is a light that's fading versus a light that's, brand
Yeah,
new. I mean,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
think you're gonna have some of that. I hesitate to do the 2 bigger ticket items simply because, there's been other things that we've talked about library-wise and their needs assessment and everything else.
I think what Bill suggests is a good idea. Maybe pick the ones of
The
5
1,
years
2,
and less
3, and 5.
that don't have a great cost impact to start with, and accumulate the others, including this building and the other buildings we do, and then maybe look at it on an entire basis to say, if we have to spend $80,000 or $90,000 to do the projects, this kind of a payback.
And then we
this
can
kind of a savings.
prioritize the bigger items
Exactly.
and go that
Exactly.
route.
Well, and is 5 really an expense, or don't we do that anyhow? Have our equipment checked each year?
Serviced annually. It's supposed to be serviced annually.
Yeah,
yes.
so I mean, I don't know if we're actually approving an additional expense on that one or not.
I think the key words was it was supposed to be serviced annually.
Oh, supposed to be?
Yes.
Gotcha.
I think he kind of mouthed over that quickly, but I think.
There's actually 4 large units up on top of the library, and we need to make sure that those do get serviced annually and
Okay.
properly.
Well, I would make a motion to adopt proposed energy-saving measures for items 1, 2, 3, and 5, which involve paybacks of less than 5 years.
Second.
Is there a motion been made and second to adopt the proposed energy savings measures as proposed or as amended to 1, 2, 3, and 5? Is there any other questions on this?
Help me out again to, why do we want to exclude 4 and 6?
Because we're looking at the big cost items in the aggregate when we get all the studies done.
Budget impact, right? I would note in the minutes,
We're not saying no to 4 and 6.
I understand that.
We're just doing the cheapies now, and we're gonna take the big ones when we get them all done.
Kind of crawl before we walk.
Okay,
Because we can find 2,700 in the budget in a heartbeat.
okay, right.
But to find 25,000 in the budget in a heartbeat is a little tougher. So,
Okay,
Okay,
that's why we're doing it.
good enough.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, moving on to discussion. John, do you have anything?
I've had some comments in the past regarding rail crossings, and we've done, and I think the railroad's done a good job of working with a number of the crossings, but 18th Street now has gotten to the point where it's pretty bad.
Okay.
Not pretty bad, it's real bad.
It's odd the way they did it. They put that steel across there instead of doing like they did the other ones, and that kind of has gotten bent or turned sideways.
Yeah, it's hard on front ends of vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Clark?
Jason, is there any sort of new protocol if you see water coming up? I mean, I'm assuming you'd answer this, maybe Bill. Water leaks, main leaks, is there any new, or what is a citizen supposed to do if they see water coming up out in the middle of their yard or in the middle of the street? I mean, what
Call
is?
City Hall or Water Department.
The reason I'm being asked is because there's an insurance company that's, selling insurance, private insurance for water lines, and that's why I'm being asked the question. Just, does that cover, like if,
Well, I'm assuming any type of leak, the Water Department is gonna go out and check to see if it's a city water main or is it a private service line. I mean, they'll go look at it.
sure.
But as far as the insurance thing, I don't know. Clark.
Okay, no, and that's fine. I had a couple people ask me if anything has changed.
I might comment on that, Clark. We have had some people say that they have gotten letters from this insurance company offering to repair your water line should you have a leak.
That's what
And
I
there is a
mean.
monthly premium you have to pay to the insurance company. The city has no affiliation with that.
Okay.
Now, that's strictly an insurance company that's approaching the citizens to offer that service, but it's not affiliated with the city at all.
But, okay, and I knew that, yeah. The only thing, I think the question is would that insurance, and you might not be able to answer that, cover it if the city goes out and determines that it's the property owner's issue? Because the only way the city decides if it's a main or if it's mine is to dig it up. And then they say, oh, the break's here, the break's there, right?
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, Water Department does have tools that they can, attach to
Okay.
a fire hydrant, a valve, to
Figure it out.
listen
Right.
for leaks. How they determine if it's leaking at the main, where it connects to the main, or if it's leaking, 10 feet up.
Right.
I don't know how they do that other than dig it up.
Okay,
Now, I don't know, I don't know what Gail's protocol is, whether they dig it up or if he tells, find a contractor and have them dig it up.
Right.
I don't know how
Okay.
that's all handled.
Okay, because there was kind of a confusing article in the Sioux City Journal about that, and that's what prompted a couple of these calls. So I was asking, I'm just asking, So probably the protocol is to call the city.
Yeah, and then we'll let
Gail,
let the water department determine,
that's fine, okay.
make the call on which
Okay.
it is.
That's totally fine.
Okay. Answer
That's
your
it.
question, Clint?
That's it, yep.
Damona?
Just a reminder to people that there is a spot on the city website to report potholes. If they see them, it's probably better than telling me in the grocery store because I won't remember where you said they were. But I wanted to check and see, are Public Works kind of watching for those now and putting fill in now that hopefully all of the snow is gone? We're just going to keep you over at the podium there, Jason.
Yeah, I have noticed some spots that they've done recently.
Okay.
Right.
So that they are doing them as they find them, so if anybody has anything to report, just go to the website.
And I noticed, I don't know if they changed the way they did it, but they just put the mix in the hole and then kind of leave it for traffic to.
Little gravel on
pack
top
in.
of it.
Yeah.
They've been putting sand or gravel on
Yeah.
top of it.
Keep it from being quite so sticky.
Yeah.
And for some of the size holes, it's just a temporary thing till they can find a better one, but for the
Yeah.
smaller ones, it does a pretty good
But
job.
if there's one that you run over every day, just go on the
Exactly.
website and report it.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Rex?
Yes.
I'll pass, thank you.
Okay. Bill?
Just got a couple of things. As far as the street light here at Central and Plymouth, that should be up and running by the end of the week. The equipment is
Is this week?
this week.
This week.
Is in Spencer, it is operational, they just got to get it down here and get it installed, and the goal is to have that done by the end of this week.
Not a week, this week.
Speak into the microphone.
Stu, is there any grace period if we stop and then go after it's fixed?
The golf cart maintenance shed, that will be completed by the end of this month, so that project is winding down. In the next couple of weeks, we will see walls going up on the restroom facility out at the Icon Rec Trail, so that will be taking place very shortly. And as you see, they're starting to work on the downtown facades. We have 29 buildings that are going to be worked on, and they hope to complete all that work by the end of this summer, so there'll be a lot of activity downtown.
Is there any update on the police building, CSS? Where's that at in the mix?
As you know, we purchased the building. We have had the building basically gutted. It's just a shell at this point.
Right.
And we're trying to decide if the shape and size of the building is compatible with what we need for a new police station. So that's the process we're in, is seeing if it'll work, and if it doesn't work, then what's our layout going to look like? So that's where it's at right now.
Okay.
That's where the bulldozer would come in.
Right.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely.
That's all.
Anything else, Bill?
Nope, that's all I've got.
Okay.